I was still holding my grandmother's hand when I felt Logan step up behind me, his presence suddenly heavier than the summer air around us. He leaned in slowly, as if afraid someone might notice, and whispered into my ear, "Grab your bag. We're leaving now. Act normal." The words were so soft, so controlled, that for a moment I honestly thought I'd imagined them. But it wasn't the sentence that froze me. It was his tone. In the 8 years we'd shared a home, a life, and all the quiet routines that come with marriage, I had never heard that tone from him. It wasn't irritation. It wasn't urgency. It was fear. A cold, quiet, calculated kind of fear, the kind that doesn't scream because it already knows any sound could be dangerous. I looked back at him over my shoulder, expecting a crooked smile, a playful shrug, something that would tell me he was just messing around. But when our eyes met, the air punched right out of my lungs. His eyes were wide, sharp, scanning everything at once. He gave me the smallest nod, barely there, followed by a tight smile that didn't even attempt to reach his eyes. Then I felt his fingers brush against mine, so light it could have been an accident to anyone else. But I knew better. It was our discreet signal, the one we used whenever we needed to escape small talk at parties or avoid someone who'd had too much to drink. I never imagined that same silly little gesture would make my pulse spike and my legs itch to run. Around me, the celebration continued as if I were watching it from behind a glass wall. People laughed, clinked glasses, fought over the last slice of cake. The music was too cheerful, too loud, too wrong. And Sierra, always dramatic, always attention-hungry, was giving her never-ending speech about how none of this would have been possible without her father's impeccable planning. Colorful balloons swayed above us. No one had the slightest clue that something had just cracked open beneath my feet. My grandmother, calm as a still lake, sat wrapped in her sky-blue shawl, smiling softly at the scene like she was soaking it all in. I should have been right there with her, celebrating. I wanted to be celebrating. But all I could hear was Logan's whisper replaying in my head. Act normal. Don't let anyone suspect. I swallowed hard, forced a smile that hurt my cheeks, and leaned close to my grandmother. I touched her shoulder and whispered, steadying my voice as best I could, "I'm just going to the bathroom. I'll be right back." Then I stood up, every movement deliberate, every breath measured, because it felt like one wrong step might trigger something I still didn't understand. I leaned down, whispered something playful into my grandmother's ear, and she nodded without even looking at me, still laughing at whatever dramatic line Mia had just delivered into the microphone. Logan and I eased our way through the party like nothing was off. I smiled. I waved. I even made a joke when someone teased, "Sneaking away for some alone time, huh?" Logan chuckled like he always did, warm and believable. But the second we crossed through the sliding door and it clicked shut behind us, the world shifted. Logan's hand wrapped around my wrist, not painful, just firm, purposeful, like he was anchoring me to him before the floor could open beneath us. "Logan, what is going on?" I whispered, trying so hard not to let the tremor reach my voice. "You're freaking me out." "Just trust me," he said quietly, eyes scanning every shadow in the hallway. "I'll explain once we're in the car." That was the moment my stomach turned. Logan never, ever, spoke like that. He guided me toward the entryway where our things were tucked beneath a small console table. He handed me my purse, then my phone, moving fast but trying to look casual, as if even the walls might be listening. His gaze kept flicking toward the windows, the stairs, the front door. I'd never seen him measure a room like that, like he was mapping it for exits. When we stepped outside, the sunlight felt wrong, too bright, too warm, too normal for whatever was wrapping its cold hands around my ribs. Kids were playing tag near the driveway. A couple of teenagers were taking selfies by a tree. From the backyard, the crowd erupted into laughter at some new joke. But none of it landed. All I felt was the sharp hum of danger buzzing beneath my skin. Logan unlocked the car, opened my door for me like always, and waited until I was fully inside before circling around. The moment he sat down, he started the engine and pressed the lock button 3 times in a row, click, click, click. It sounded like gunshots ricocheting inside the silence of the car. He didn't look at me. He didn't even grip the wheel. He just stared into the rearview mirror like he expected something, or someone, to appear. Then, slowly, he turned his head toward me. His voice barely came out. "Something is very, very wrong." My heart stopped. "What does that mean?" I whispered. "Logan, it's a birthday party." "What are you talking about?" He didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his jacket and pulled out his phone with the same careful movement someone might use to handle an explosive device. He held it in his hand but kept the screen turned away from me. And that, more than anything, made the hair on the back of my neck rise. Logan kept his eyes on the mirror for a long second before finally speaking. "I'll explain in a minute," he murmured, voice tight, "but right now I need you to trust me. Please. Don't panic. Just, stay still." The way he said it, low, controlled, almost rehearsed, made my pulse throb in my neck. Against my better judgment, I turned to glance back at the house. That's when I saw her. Mia. Standing alone in the doorway, not smiling, not waving, just staring at our car like she already knew we weren't supposed to leave. A thin shiver ran down my spine. Something was wrong. Not dramatic, not imagined, wrong. If you're wondering what was going through my head, the answer is simple: confusion mixed with a fear I didn't have a name for yet. Even now, remembering that moment makes my stomach twist. But everything, the reason for Logan's panic, the reason Mia was watching us like a hawk, started long before that birthday party. So if you're lost, don't worry. It's about to make sense. Just stay with me. Because the truth is, it all began with a phone call I almost ignored. A Sunday afternoon, quiet, warm, nothing unusual. I was folding towels on the kitchen island when my phone buzzed and skidded a little across the stone countertop. I glanced at the screen and froze. My dad. We hadn't talked properly in years, not because of a fight, but because every interaction with him left me feeling like a guest in my own family. Still, something in me picked up. Curiosity, maybe. Or that old childhood hope that maybe this time he just wanted to hear my voice. I swiped to answer and tried to sound neutral. "Hi, Dad." "Maya," he said, bright and almost boyish. "Sweetheart, how've you been?" His tone immediately put me on guard. My father didn't do cheerful unless there was a reason behind it, usually a reason that benefited him. I leaned against the counter and stared at the half-folded laundry. "I'm okay," I said carefully. "What's going on?" He chuckled in that soft, rehearsed way he used when he was about to ask for a favor. And just like that, before any danger, before any panic, before Logan grabbed my wrist at the party, this was the moment the fuse was lit. "Your dad wants to talk to you about something important," he'd said, sounding almost sentimental. But with my father, sentiment was never free. He launched into the real reason quickly: Grandma Rose's 85th birthday. He said it like it was some miraculous revelation, but of course I remembered, Grandma was unforgettable. Still, I knew my father well enough to wait for the hook hidden behind the nostalgia. And, right on cue, he dropped it. A surprise party. A big one. Decor, catering, people I hadn't seen in a decade. And Sierra, of all people, helping plan it. Hearing my sister's name made something old and unpleasant tighten in my chest. Our childhood had felt like a race I never agreed to run, with Sierra sprinting ahead just so she could turn around and smirk when she beat me. We were polite as adults, but that was about it, polite the way strangers at a bus stop are polite. Still, this wasn't about her. This was about Grandma, the woman who had quietly patched me together every time my family chipped away at me. So I swallowed the unease and said the words I didn't expect to hear come out of my own mouth. "Of course. I'll be there." For a split second, the line had gone silent, and then my father let out that pleased, relieved exhale he only ever used when things went exactly the way he wanted. "Wonderful. She'll be thrilled," he said, wrapping up the call with details, directions, and, of course, the fact that the party would be held at the old house. The house I hadn't walked into in nearly 10 years. The house full of ghosts I thought I'd finally outrun. That part made my stomach flip, but I told myself it didn't matter. It was just a house. Just a family birthday. Just one afternoon. Nothing I couldn't handle. Nothing, I thought then, that could hurt me anymore. I didn't realize how wrong I was. Later that evening, when I told Logan, he didn't react the way I expected. He didn't smile or say it was sweet or offer to help pick a gift. He just stared at the wall for a moment, processing. "Your dad invited you?" he asked slowly. Like the idea itself didn't make sense. "Yeah," I said, shrugging like it wasn't a big deal. "It's strange, I know, but I can't skip Grandma Rose's birthday. She practically raised me." Logan nodded, but his expression didn't soften. If anything, he looked like someone had just told him something deeply troubling. I frowned, waiting. He sighed heavily, leaning back in his chair like the weight of that invitation was something he could actually feel pressing on him. And that was the first moment, long before the party, long before the panic, long before we ran, when I sensed he knew something I didn't. Logan rubbed the back of his neck the way he always did when something didn't sit right with him. "I don't know," he murmured. "It just feels sudden. Like they're trying too hard to make it sound perfect." I understood exactly what he meant. My family never did anything without an angle. Warmth wasn't their style, and invitations never came without fine print. Still, the idea that they might be reaching out, even awkwardly, eased something small and hopeful inside me. Grandma Rose deserved to be celebrated, and maybe, just maybe, they were trying to be better. Or at least pretending convincingly enough that I wanted to believe it. Logan agreed to come with me, though I could tell he wasn't thrilled. He wasn't suspicious of them the way I was, he just didn't trust situations that felt staged. He kept saying he wanted me to have support, in case things felt heavy, which was his coded way of saying my family drained the life out of me. Still, he booked us a hotel nearby, adding, "Let's just give ourselves an exit, okay?" I laughed it off, but I appreciated it more than I admitted. I'd always needed exits around my family, physical ones, emotional ones, any escape I could find. And Logan knew that better than anyone. The week leading up to the trip felt like living with a small stone under my ribcage. Every time I pictured myself stepping through the old front door, I felt a twist of longing tangled with dread. I remembered the creaky porch where Grandma and I used to drink lemonade, the smell of her rose soap, the soft hum of her old radio. And then I'd remember the rest, the slammed doors, the silent dinners, the way Sierra's eyes always gleamed when she found a new way to make me feel lesser. Those memories lived in that house, too. Waiting. Breathing. Watching. The morning we left, Logan was in full preparation mode. He checked the tire pressure twice, organized the trunk like we were evacuating for a hurricane, and made sure we had 4 different types of chargers. He's always been careful, but this felt different, like he was gearing up for something he couldn't name. I teased him about being overprotective, and he smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. If I had paid closer attention, maybe I would have asked him what he was really worried about. But I didn't. I was too busy pretending everything was normal. The drive itself was long but peaceful. 6 hours of open road, old playlists, and the kind of lazy conversation you only have when the world seems far away. We shared snacks, made jokes about road signs, and talked about my childhood in fragments, like holding pieces of glass I wasn't sure I wanted to examine too closely. I told him the stories that didn't hurt, the secret cookies, the blanket forts, the summers spent barefoot in Grandma's garden. He listened with full attention, like each memory was a clue to understanding me. We didn't talk much about my father or Sierra. Whenever their names came up, the car seemed to get colder, and even the music felt too loud. It was easier to talk about the softness of the past than the parts that cut. So we let the silence swallow the things we weren't ready to say. At the time, I thought that was just us being tired. Now I know better. Silence always means something before it becomes obvious. By the time we reached the hotel parking lot, the sun was already dipping low, painting the sky in heavy gold. I remember thinking the colors felt dramatic, almost theatrical, like the universe was trying to warn me that the calm was about to end. But I brushed that thought away, the same way I brushed away every subtle warning that week. I didn't realize it yet, but the moment I stepped into that house, everything I thought I understood about my family and my marriage would start to unravel. And nothing would ever fit together the same way again. Some memories are better left sealed, locked away in boxes we never intend to open again. But life loves poking at old wounds. When the car finally turned into the familiar gravel driveway, my stomach dropped. The house looked the same, and completely different at the same time. The same white window frames, the same garden I used to water with Grandma, even the same worn-out welcome mat, except everything felt staged, like an over-edited photograph. Balloons hung from every post, a fake flower arch shimmered above the garage, and a giant banner screamed, "Happy 85th, Rose." It looked less like a celebration and more like someone had built a set for a family that didn't exist. My father appeared first, smiling too widely, arms open like we were starring in some heartwarming reunion commercial. "There she is," he said, pulling me into a hug that lasted only as long as required to look believable and nothing more. Right behind him was Sierra, flawless as always, overly perfumed, holding a clipboard with the kind of confidence only she possessed. She air-kissed me, never touching. "We're so glad you made it, Maya," she said with a sweetness that didn't match the cold glint in her eyes. Of course they were happy. They just hadn't said why. Logan stood beside me, steady, his hand holding mine just a bit too tightly. He didn't speak, but his body said everything: tension, alertness, the kind of discomfort that doesn't come from insecurity but instinct. The moment we crossed the doorway, goosebumps rose along my arms. It wasn't nostalgia. It wasn't emotion. It was like stepping over an invisible line into a place pretending to be familiar, but wasn't anymore. The air was colder, heavier. Even the light felt wrong. The living room looked perfect, but not in the natural way a well-kept house does. It looked recreated, as if someone tried to rebuild the house from old photos instead of real memories. The furniture was in the same positions, but it wasn't the same furniture. The rug where I used to color with my pencils was gone. The picture frames had been replaced. Even the smell was different, no soft scent of Grandma's lavender, just the sharp aroma of overly new cleaning products. Everything felt rehearsed, prepared, like an altar to normalcy. Logan noticed immediately. I recognized the way his eyes moved, scanning, mapping exits, reading shadows, looking for inconsistencies. He released my hand just long enough to squeeze my shoulder, a private signal he only used when he needed me to stay alert without drawing attention. "Breathe," he whispered, barely moving his lips. So I did, even though every part of me wanted to walk right back out. I tried to hide the rising sense that something was off. I walked around the room, touching things as if that could convince me everything was fine. "It looks nice," I said softly. The words came out low, distant. It wasn't a compliment, more like an attempt to fill the suffocating silence stretching between us and the rest of the family. My father smiled proudly, as if I'd passed some test I didn't know I was taking. But as I scanned the room, that uneasy feeling grew stronger. Something was missing. Or someone. And for a brief second, I swear I felt eyes on me, not from the guests, but from the house itself. As if it recognized me, and didn't like that I'd returned. And though I didn't know it yet, that feeling wasn't paranoia. It was a warning. As soon as we crossed the hallway, Logan leaned slightly toward me, his voice low enough that no one else could catch it. "This doesn't look natural," he murmured, and my stomach tightened. I had been trying to ignore that strange feeling since we arrived, but hearing him say it out loud made everything real. Every detail, the exaggerated smiles, the perfectly aligned decorations, even the scent in the air, felt overly rehearsed, like someone had set up a scene and forgotten that real people don't act like that. My father walked around the living room with the same enthusiasm as a realtor showing an expensive house to a hesitant buyer. He pointed at framed photos, old heirlooms, and stories that didn't match the memories I had of this place. It was like the house had been redesigned to impress, not to welcome family. Sierra, meanwhile, floated between guests with that sugar-sweet voice she only used when she wanted something from someone. I knew that sound well, it was snake perfume. But none of it mattered once my eyes found her. Sitting near the window, almost hidden by the sheer curtain, was my grandmother. Not the strong, vibrant, sharp-tongued woman I remembered, but a dimmer, smaller version of her. Fragile. A piece of me cracked just looking at her. I walked to her slowly, as if my steps could disrupt something delicate. When I knelt beside her chair, I could still smell the faint scent of her chamomile tea mixed with the pale blue shawl she always loved. "Hi, Grandma," I whispered, trying to keep my voice steady. She lifted her gaze and smiled, but it was tired, like she was reaching for a memory she could almost touch. "You came, my flower," her voice trembled. I held her hand. It was cold. Not temperature cold, but the cold that comes from being left alone for too long. Her grip was weak, and that hurt more than anything she could have said. My grandmother never had weak hands. She always held life tightly. Always. Logan stepped closer and rested a steady hand on my shoulder. "Hi, Miss Rose," he said gently. She blinked at him. Logan. But even as she said his name, it sounded like she was searching for the rest of the memory. Before I could ask her anything, Sierra appeared from nowhere like a door slamming shut. "She's been sleeping a lot lately," she said too quickly, almost tripping over the words, and the truth behind them. Her tone wasn't concern. It was pre-planned justification. Like she had practiced that line. I looked back at my grandmother. She didn't look like someone who just slept too much. She looked like someone being quietly erased. And for the first time that afternoon, I felt afraid. Not of the house, but of whatever they were trying so hard to hide inside it. Sierra tossed the line out so quickly it sounded rehearsed. "Doctor says it's just age. Just age." As if my grandmother, the sharpest, liveliest woman I had ever known, could simply fade like that overnight. Something tightened inside my chest. Her tone wasn't worried. It was rushed. Like she wanted to close the subject before anyone pried too deep. I rose slowly, letting my hand slip from Grandma's, and scanned the room with new eyes. Many of the guests were vaguely familiar, distant cousins, old neighbors, family acquaintances who only surfaced during big celebrations. But scattered among them were faces that didn't belong. Men in neatly pressed clothes, stiff posture, expressionless. They weren't laughing. They weren't eating. They weren't mingling. They were observing. I leaned toward Logan and whispered, "Who are those guys?" He didn't need long to look. I was wondering the same thing. They're not acting like guests. They're positioned like they're on watch. The word hung between us, heavy. And for the first time, the uneasiness of the party sharpened into something real. Before I could follow that thought, my dad appeared beside us holding 2 glasses of punch, his smile wide enough to look forced. "You two enjoying yourselves?" he asked. Logan took the glass but didn't drink. "Everything looks very polished," he said. Dad laughed proudly. "Of course. It's not every day your mother turns 85. Then he turned to me and touched my arm gently. "She's been so excited to see you." I nodded, but my eyes were fixed again on Grandma. Her head rested back now, eyelids fluttering like she was fighting to stay awake. Something wasn't right, no matter how many times Sierra tried to disguise it as simple exhaustion. With each passing minute, that cold, creeping feeling inside me grew stronger. Then Sierra clapped her hands loudly. "Okay, everyone. Photos outside. The golden light is perfect right now." People began making their way out, moving like a well-directed crowd. Dad gave us a quick wave and joined them. The house slowly emptied, but the tension in my chest didn't ease. Logan leaned closer, his voice nearly inaudible. "I'm going to step outside for a moment. I want to check something near the garage." And the way he said it, steady, controlled, like someone who already had a suspicion, sent a chill running straight down my spine. He wasn't being cautious. He was being protective. "What do you need to check?" I asked, but Logan just gave me that look, the one that said everything without a single word, "I'll explain later." I nodded. "Be careful." He walked off like he was simply stepping out for some air, but I knew every nuance of his body language. He was investigating. And the fact that he needed to investigate anything at a family birthday party twisted something cold in my stomach. I stayed beside Grandma, gently tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. She shifted slightly, but didn't open her eyes. Every detail of that party looked flawless, perfect decorations, spotless house, people smiling like they'd practiced it in the mirror. And yet, everything felt hollow. Artificial. Like a stage built for a play where I didn't know my role yet. And for the first time since we arrived, a sharp thought sliced through me. Maybe coming back was a mistake. Logan was gone for about 10 minutes. But the moment he stepped back inside, I knew something in him had changed. His jaw was set tighter. His eyes were sharper. It was the look he got when he was assembling a puzzle silently in his mind, when the pieces were starting to click into place, and the picture forming wasn't something you wanted to see. He walked straight to me as I helped Grandma take a sip of water. "You okay?" I asked, studying his face.
"Yeah,"
he said, but his voice was too stiff, too quick. "Can I talk to you for a second?" In the hallway. I glanced at Grandma, leaning back again, drifting into sleep like she was carrying the exhaustion of 100 days, not just a party. Then I followed him. Sure. We stepped into the hallway beside the kitchen, and the quiet there felt heavier, colder. The laughter and music from the backyard were muffled, distant, like they belonged to a different world entirely. Logan lowered his voice. I saw wires coming out from under the porch. Not regular cables. They were hidden. I frowned. What kind of wires? He exhaled slowly, choosing his words. Audio. Maybe video. And one of them runs directly into the wall next to the living room window. A chill slid straight down my spine. It wasn't just the party that felt wrong. The house was being monitored. I barely got the words out before I felt my voice tremble. What would they even be recording? Logan's expression hardened, and he shook his head, like saying it aloud might make things worse. I don't know yet. He took a slow breath. But that isn't all. There are men positioned near the back fence. They're not guests. They're trying to blend in, but they're not doing anything. Just watching. I swallowed. I didn't need expertise to recognize it. Security. Security that doesn't want to look like security, he corrected. No uniforms, no badges. And I heard one of them mention timing the drop. That's not party conversation. That cold feeling that had followed me since we walked into the house spread heavier through my chest. Logan, what do you think is happening? He glanced around, like the walls themselves might be listening, before answering. I don't want to scare you. But something bigger is going on here. Something planned. He paused, then added, I checked the downstairs bathroom medicine cabinet. It's empty. Nothing. Not even your grandmother's prescriptions. My heart stopped for a beat. She takes heart medication. And sleeping pills. Every day. She's not taking them anymore, he said quietly. Unless they're hiding them somewhere else. I looked toward the living room where I could just barely see the edge of Grandma's blue shawl over the arm of her chair. She's not herself. She called you Jack. She hasn't looked at anyone all day. She's barely awake. Logan nodded grimly. It feels like they're keeping her just sedated enough to pull something off. Right then, Sierra's bright voice drifted down the hall, slicing through the tension like a blade hidden in velvet. There you two are. We're getting ready for cake. Don't miss it. Logan flashed a polite smile. Of course. We'll be right there. The moment she disappeared around the corner, he leaned toward me again, eyes sharp and serious. I think your dad and your sister are planning something with your grandmother's estate, Logan said, his voice low and steady. Maybe even trying to prove she's not mentally fit anymore. The room spun around me. His words echoed in my mind like they'd been shouted inside a hollow tunnel. But, why now? I asked, though part of me already dreaded the answer. He hesitated for a moment, like he was assembling a puzzle piece by piece. Because everything shifts when she turns 85. Legal authority, trust clauses, some of them only activate at that age. There might be something they want to take advantage of. My chest tightened, and I had to steady myself against the wall. Logan, we can't just accuse them of that. We don't have proof. I know, he said, his voice even but his eyes sharp. I'm gathering what I can. I took photos of what I found, but I need more time. Until then, I need you to act normal. No suspicion. The words act normal hit differently this time. Now I could feel the weight of it. This wasn't a celebration. It was a stage. And we were surrounded. We walked back into the living room where Sierra leaned over a massive cake, lighting candles as if she were performing for an invisible audience. My father stood beside her, his arm draped over her shoulder, smiling like he already knew the end of the story. I looked toward Grandma. Her head had fallen back, eyes half shut, as if holding onto consciousness by a thread. I approached and gently touched her arm. Grandma? I whispered. She blinked slowly, taking far too long to recognize me. Oh, hello, dear, she mumbled. Before I could say anything, Sierra appeared with a stiff smile. She's just tired, she said quickly, too quickly. After the cake, we leave, Logan murmured in my ear. I nodded without thinking, unable to breathe properly. When everyone started singing happy birthday, the voices blended into an uneven, uneasy chorus. I couldn't sing. All I could do was watch the woman who practically raised me struggle to lift her head, and wonder how I hadn't seen this coming sooner. The cake had barely been cut when Logan touched my arm and gave me a discreet nod. It was time. He didn't have to say a word. I already knew that look, the same one he had years ago when we had to leave a hotel in the middle of the night because he sensed something was wrong before anyone else did. Calm on the surface, calculated underneath. A quiet alarm that never failed. Before following him, I glanced back at Grandma one last time. She was slumped in her chair, eyes unfocused, while Sierra posed behind her for photos like everything was perfectly normal. I leaned down and whispered, almost without breath, I'll come back for you. Logan didn't respond, he just gave my hand a soft squeeze, as if telling me he understood. We moved through the side hallway that curved toward the front of the house. We didn't run. We didn't even speed up. Logan made sure every step looked natural, controlled, as if a calm exit would draw less attention than any hint of urgency. Every gesture he made felt deliberate, rehearsed, like he was conducting a quiet escape plan. When we passed my father, Logan even managed a polite smile and said, "Great cake." My dad laughed, clapped him on the back, and replied, "Thanks for coming, son." That word, son, burned in my ears. It sounded fake, heavy, almost threatening. We crossed the front door without anyone stopping us. My pulse hammered so loudly I swore it echoed in the hallway, but I kept my expression relaxed, just like Logan taught me. Outside, the sun was dipping low, casting the yard in a warm golden glow that somehow made everything feel even more eerie and still. The air was thick, unmoving, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Our car was still parked in the far corner of the driveway, exactly where we left it. As soon as the house faded behind us, Logan picked up the pace, never once looking back. I followed close, feeling tension tighten around us like a rope. He unlocked the car quickly, wasting no time. "Get in," he said quietly. I obeyed immediately, sliding into the passenger seat and shutting the door softly, careful not to draw attention. Logan got in right after me. And as soon as he pulled his door closed, he hit the lock button. The sharp click echoed like a gunshot. Logan started the car with the forced calm of someone who knows that any sudden movement could draw attention. He backed out slowly, almost lazily, as if we were just heading out to buy more ice. The gate slipped behind us, and only when we turned onto the main road did I feel my chest collapse in a breath I'd been holding since the party began. But the relief didn't last. Logan kept his eyes on the road and said, in the same steady tone, "They had sedatives in the kitchen drawer." My stomach flipped. I turned toward him so fast the seatbelt dug into my shoulder. "What do you mean?" "An unlabeled bottle hidden behind the silverware." Crushed residue on the cap. Strong dosage. Nothing like what your grandmother takes. My breath stuttered. You think they're drugging her? I think they're keeping her awake just enough to look present, he said. But too out of it to speak, react, or question anything. Like someone who's there, but not really. My hands flew to my mouth, as if I could hold the panic inside. Logan didn't slow down. His eyes flicked from the road to the mirror, calculating every car behind us. There's more, he said, and my heart dropped again. One of those guests wasn't a guest. His plate was untouched, but he had a folder hidden under his jacket. I saw the papers sticking out. Medical documents. Forged ones. The world tilted around me. You think they're trying to declare Grandma incompetent? He nodded, jaw tight. That's my guess. If they get that, they control everything, her house, her accounts, her medical decisions. Everything. And we were in there singing happy birthday. The sunlight bounced off the window, dizzying me even more. My God, I whispered. They were doing all of this right under our noses. Not anymore, Logan murmured. And then he took a sharp right, off the main road. Why are you turning? I asked, gripping the dashboard. He exhaled. When we were walking out, one of those quiet guys stepped outside and started talking into his phone while watching us. I don't want to make it easy for them to follow. When I looked through the rear window, all I saw was open fields and a line of trees swaying in the wind. But none of it calmed me. My chest was still locked and alert. Instinctively, I checked my phone, no signal. Not a single bar. It was like we'd slipped off the map. Before I could ask what to do, Logan reached into the inside pocket of his jacket and pulled out a small black flash drive, discreet, unremarkable, heavy only in purpose. I recorded everything I could, he said, eyes still on the road. The hidden wires, the signatures, the bottle. If the police open an investigation, this will be enough to start. I stared at the object in his hand, trying to understand how someone could be so fast, so precise, while I could barely breathe. You did all that in under an hour? I asked, stunned. He gave me a half smile, dry, familiar, the kind that always meant of course I did. Despite the chaos inside me, a faint smile slipped out. A broken, fragile smile, the kind you wear when you pretend you still have control over a life that's already turned to smoke. Then my phone buzzed. Just once. One notification. A message from an unknown number. Why did you leave? My heart froze. I showed the screen to Logan, and I saw his jaw tighten instantly. He lifted his chin, took a slow breath, and said only, "We're going straight to the station." There was no room for argument, and I didn't want to argue. At that point, the situation had already gone beyond just protecting my grandmother. It had become something bigger. Something that needed to be stopped. The road stretched out before us like an endless, silent line cutting across the horizon. Logan drove like someone who knew exactly what he was doing, steady, focused, checking the mirrors with calculated rhythm. I, on the other hand, could only stare at those 5 words on my screen, burning like hot iron. Why did you leave? I didn't respond, I murmured. I don't even know who sent it. Good, Logan said without looking away from the road. They wanted to shake you. Make you rethink what you saw. What you felt. They wanted to plant doubt. Well, it worked, I admitted, wrapping my arms around myself as the tremor started to rise. What if we're wrong? What if all of this is paranoia? What if Logan cut me off with a calm that only someone who's lived through real danger can have? Then the police will tell us we're wrong. But we're not going back there without answers. When I glanced through the rear window, the world behind us was nothing but open fields and a thin row of trees swaying lazily in the wind. But none of it settled the panic tightening inside my chest. My body was still locked in that quiet, vibrating alert. Out of instinct, I checked my phone, still no signal. Not even a flicker of a bar. It felt like we'd driven off the edge of the map entirely. Before I could ask what we were supposed to do now, Logan reached into the inside pocket of his jacket and pulled out a small black flash drive, plain, forgettable, except for the weight of what I knew was inside. I documented everything I could, he said, never once taking his eyes off the road. The wires, the paperwork, the bottle. If the police decide to dig into this, it'll be enough to get the ball rolling. I watched the flash drive in his hand, stunned that he could move so quickly, so methodically, while I was still struggling just to keep my thoughts from spiraling. You did all of that in under an hour? I whispered. He gave me a familiar half-smile, dry, knowing, the kind that always meant you already know the answer. A soft, brittle laugh slipped out of me, though nothing about this felt funny. It was the kind of laugh you use to hold yourself together when everything else is coming apart. And then my phone buzzed. A single vibration. A single notification. A message from an unknown number. Why did you leave? My stomach sank. I turned the screen toward Logan. His jaw tightened instantly. He lifted his chin, drew in a slow breath, and said, "We're going straight to the station." There was no space for disagreement, and I didn't want to disagree. Whatever this was, it had already grown far beyond a family issue. It was no longer just about saving my grandmother. It was about stopping something that was in motion. The road stretched ahead of us, long, narrow, eerily quiet. Logan drove with the kind of focus that came from experience, his eyes darting to the mirrors in careful, rhythmic intervals. And I just kept staring at those 5 cold words glowing on my screen. Why did you leave? I didn't answer, I said softly. I don't even know who sent it. Good, Logan muttered. Whoever it is, they wanted to rattle you. Make you second-guess everything you saw. Everything you sensed. They wanted to carve doubt into your head. Well, it's working, I admitted, folding my arms tight across my chest as a tremor crept upward. What if we're wrong? What if this is all paranoia? What if? Logan cut me off gently, but firmly. Then the police will tell us we're wrong. But we are not going back there blind. There was a man by the basement door, Logan continued, his voice low, controlled. Wearing medical scrubs. I blinked. Scrubs? At a birthday party? I thought he was just helping out, he said, until I saw the duffel bag he was carrying. Big. Heavy. Could have been equipment, or something worse. A cold shiver crawled across my spine. No, I whispered, shaking my head. Grandma's not sick enough for home care. She's never mentioned a nurse. She would have told me. I think that was the whole point, Logan replied. They were banking on nobody questioning it. Keep her sedated, slip paperwork under her nose, get signatures, maybe even move her to some facility while she's too out of it to resist. I pressed a hand to my mouth as the pieces twisted into place, forming a picture I never wanted to see. We were the only ones who noticed, weren't we? He nodded once. That's why I got you out. I looked back at the photos on the flash drive. The timestamps glared up at me, taken just an hour ago. My fingers trembled so hard I nearly dropped the phone. Without warning, Logan reached over, took the device from my hand, opened my contacts, and tapped a number I hadn't touched in years. Who are you calling? I asked. He didn't answer right away. He pressed the phone to his ear. County Police. My heart lurched. Are you sure? Completely. The line rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. Then a woman's voice, County Sheriff's Department. What's your emergency? Logan spoke with steady clarity. We need to report suspected elder abuse and fraud. We have documented evidence. It's urgent. He gave our names, my grandmother's information, the address of the house, and a quick rundown of what we found. The woman asked us to pull over somewhere safe and wait for deputies to meet us. Logan agreed without hesitation. 10 minutes later, we pulled into a small gas station off the highway, parking in the shadow of a side fence where the car was mostly hidden from the road. The air felt still. Watchful. And for the first time since we left the house, I felt the weight of everything settle over me. While we waited, I found myself staring at the steering wheel without actually seeing it. My thoughts spun in chaotic circles. She always trusted them, I whispered, the words barely escaping. Grandma believed Dad and Sierra had changed. Logan threaded his fingers through mine, steady and grounding. They haven't, he said quietly. But you saw the truth. That's what matters now. 20 long minutes later, 2 police cruisers rolled into the parking lot. The officers stepped out, serious but not dismissive. Logan handed over the flash drive and calmly walked them through everything we found. I added what I could, my voice shaky but determined. The officers didn't brush us off. They took notes, snapped pictures of the screen, made a series of quick calls. Then one of them turned to us and said, "We're heading to the property now. If you feel able, you should follow us." I looked at Logan. He gave me a subtle nod, confident, unwavering. And just like that, we were going back to the house I had run from. Only this time, we weren't going alone. When we pulled into the driveway with law enforcement trailing behind us, the sky was dimming into bruised shades of orange and blue. The house, once buzzing with party noise, was now unsettlingly silent. No music. No laughter. Most of the cars were gone, but not all. A cold knot twisted in my stomach. Logan parked near the curb and squeezed my hand gently. Ready? I wasn't. Not even close. But I nodded anyway. The officers approached the front door, one knocking with firm authority while the other positioned himself strategically near the steps. Logan and I stood just behind them, my pulse hammering so loud it echoed in my ears. After a few tense seconds, the door cracked open. Sierra stood there. Still in her party dress. Mascara slightly smudged. And a bright, brittle smile plastered across her face, as if nothing in the world were wrong. Too brightly. That was the first thing I noticed about Sierra's smile, like she'd cranked it up too high, too fast, the way someone does when they're scrambling to hold a mask in place. "Officers," she chirped, voice a full octave too sweet, "is something wrong?" "We're responding to a report of suspected elder abuse and potential fraud," the taller officer replied, his tone flat, professional. "Is your mother home?" Sierra blinked once. Twice. But the smile didn't budge. I think you have the wrong house," she said, a tiny laugh leaking out like steam from a cracked pipe. Logan stepped forward before I could. "No, they don't." Her eyes snapped to him, sharp, panicked, then shifted to me. "You called the police?" I opened my mouth, but the second officer cut in. "Ma'am, we need to come inside. Now." A long beat. Then Sierra stepped aside, hands trembling despite her efforts to hide it. "Of course," she said faintly. "Please." We entered the living room, and instantly the silence felt heavier than the air. Everything looked the same as before, but darker now, the decorations sagging in the dim light like they were suddenly out of place. And there, in the center of the room, still slumped in her armchair, was Grandma Rose. She looked smaller than she had an hour ago. Fragile. Her breathing shallow, lips parted. The older officer approached her gently and tapped her arm. "Ma'am?" Her eyelids fluttered open slowly, the movement sluggish and delayed. "Yes," she murmured. "Do you know where you are?" he asked softly. She blinked and looked around the room as if it were an unfamiliar museum. "At home," she whispered. "And do you know what day it is?" A long pause. "Then, my birthday." Logan leaned toward me. "She's still under something," he whispered, jaw tight. The second officer immediately radioed for paramedics, his voice clipped with urgency. Then he turned back to Sierra. "Where is her medication?" Sierra straightened a bit. "In her bathroom," she said quickly. "Why?" "Can you show me?" Another hesitation. "Just a hair." It's in the drawer." "You're welcome to check." The officer nodded once and headed down the hallway. And just then, as if on cue, my father walked into the room, expression unreadable, posture stiff, eyes flicking to the officers and then to me like he already knew exactly why they were here. As soon as he stepped into the doorway, his voice boomed through the room. "What exactly is going on here?" He said it loud, too loud, like volume alone could rewrite reality. But the officers didn't flinch. "Sir," the lead officer replied calmly, "we're investigating a report." "My daughter must have misunderstood something," my father interrupted, his tone sharp, dismissive. "This is all a mistake." Logan stepped forward before I could even breathe. "Then you won't mind explaining the surveillance wires under the porch, the unmarked sedatives, and the forged conservatorship forms hidden in your house?" The color drained from my father's face so quickly, it was like watching a candle blow out. "Excuse me," he whispered. Logan lifted his phone, swiping to the photo. His voice was steady, controlled. "This is your signature on a declaration stating Rose is mentally incompetent. Filed without her knowledge." The officer took the phone, glanced at the picture, then lifted his gaze. "Sir, I'm going to need you to step outside with us." "You as well, ma'am." Sierra's voice cracked instantly. We were trying to protect her. She's getting worse. We were planning to move her to a care facility. She needs it." A rustling sound came from behind us. "No, I don't." The room froze. Grandma Rose pushed herself upright, her hands trembling but her voice steady. "I am not confused. I am not unwell. And I surely did not agree to be drugged and kept in this chair while you two decide what to steal from me." My throat tightened so fast it hurt. "Grandma." She looked straight into my eyes, clear, aware, defiant. "You came back for me," she whispered. "I knew you would." Logan knelt beside her gently. "We're going to make sure nobody hurts you again," he said softly. "You have my word." Paramedics rushed in seconds later, checking her vitals, her pulse, her pupils. And as they worked, the officers guided Sierra and my father out the front door. No shouting. No apologies. No last-minute excuses. Just silence. Cold, heavy silence. Logan slipped his arm around my shoulders as we watched them walk down the path. "They'll face charges," Logan said quietly, watching the taillights fade down the road. "With everything we found, the documents, the pills, the wires, they won't be able to talk their way out of this. Not this time." I nodded, though my eyes stayed fixed on the last flash of police lights disappearing into the night. It didn't feel real yet. None of it did. Later, Grandma Rose was taken to the hospital for observation. I went with her in the ambulance, the siren off, the ride strangely calm after everything that had happened. She held my hand the entire way, gripping it with more strength than I expected. She didn't let go until a nurse gently guided her into a hospital bed and tucked a blanket around her shoulders. "I thought I was alone," she whispered, her eyes soft and tired. "You never were," I said, brushing her hair back. "Not for a second." When I finally returned to the hotel, exhaustion hit me in one heavy wave. Logan and I sat on the edge of the bed, neither of us reaching for the TV remote or our phones. No distractions. Just silence. A strange, comfortable silence. "You did good today," he said eventually, voice low. "So did you," I replied. And for the first time in what felt like years, longer, maybe, I felt something bloom quietly inside me. Not just relief, not just survival. Peace. Real, steady peace.